Well, first off, I would like to point out a few things. I would like to point out a few counter arguments of my own on how my negative Arnisha told us that there is no proof. Sandra, there is no proof on how GMOs have no effect. One. In one of my recent studies by wait, not that one. I would first like to address the FDA part on how she said that it doesn't need to be labeled and how it was different. According to a study by Swab Frank, by the editors in a news site. The Food and Drug Administration could have spared everyone the trouble of an infant. FDA concluded more than a decade ago that GM foods are indistinguishable from unaltered foods, and that labeling was merely unnecessary. The policy is out of sync with these and other industries. Their policy, though, is out of sync with other nations, under industrialized nations, including the European Union and Japan. The European Union and Japan. Even China and Brazil have tighter requirements when enforcing GMO laws. And in another study, I found GMOs are not only bad for people's health, but they also have much effect on the environment around themselves, around their geology. And according to the American Administration for Advancements of Science, genetic modification of plants can increase their abilities to become an invasive species. Basically, it means that some of the genetics from the altered food can not only alter the food itself, but also other plants and insects around it. In one way, it makes some bugs more invasive. Due to the genetic modification on unintentional introduction, they can threaten plants and animals in the area by killing naturally occurring species, and absorbing resourcefulness and taking up large amount of space. And another environmental worry about the insects or invasive species is that this was by Cody Wing. He wrote about genetically modified crops, and he stated that every few seasons, bugs and diseases could mutate and become immune to the old pesticide and herbicides in the plants. If the GMs are supposed to resist pesticides better, then the chances of the bugs eating the plants themselves and then gaining this gaining this survivability gene will make it harder to kill them all. And how GMOs are supposedly not any different from their organic counterparts. There was a cited study from the Journal of Applied Toxicology where researchers reacted a toxin from a Monsanto GMO corn and exposed it to human cells. The study found that the toxin poked holes in the human cells. And there's also another thing I would like to point out. In one of her points, she noted that there aren't many labels against on how GMOs are bad. One of the reasons why that there aren't many bad news on how GMO are bad for your health is because by Mitchell Williams, one of his sources says that because heavy bully companies are because scientists who try to find belongings or flaws within GMOs are underfunded or threatened where they cannot they can't at all find what's publicly announced what's wrong with the seeds. That's all for now.